Hello and welcome to my channel, The Purple Poncho. I'm Carolyn and today I'm going to show you how to make the beautiful Bayshore crochet tee. This top is made using the broomstick lace stitch along with some easy single and double crochet stitches. In this video, you'll learn how to make the stitches, how to seam it, and make the edging. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Thank you for being here, and let's get crocheting. For this project, I will be using Cotton DK weight yarn, and the color is called Hydrangea. Again, it's a number 3 DK weight, and it's 70% cotton and 30% linen. And I'd like to thank We Crochet for providing the yarn for this project. I'm also using a size H or 5mm crochet hook. We'll be using a size 25mm or US 50 jumbo knitting needle, and you'll need some scissors. Make a slip knot and place it on your crochet hook. We're going to begin by making foundation single crochet stitches. So chain 2, going into that first chain that we made, going through both of those legs, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through 1, that makes the chain, and yarn over, pull through 2, makes the single crochet. And we're going to make the indicated amount of stitches for the size that you're making. So again, go into the bottom of the chain, yarn over, pull through, make a chain, and then yarn over, pull through 2 to make your single crochet. I like to rotate it towards me so I can see that my hook is going underneath both of those loops. Then yarn over, pull through, and then we're going to make the chain, and we're going to make the single crochet at the same time. So we're working this stitch going up this way, but then we're going to actually turn it sideways when we begin crocheting back and forth on the rows. So go ahead and make the indicated number of stitches in the pattern for your foundation single crochet, and this is going to be worked from the bottom up, so like this would be down by your waist or your hips, and then we're going to work up towards the neck, and it gives it a little bit more elasticity or elastic stretchiness at the bottom of the sweater. So that's why I prefer to start with these foundation single crochet stitches. You could also start with just a basic chain and then add 1 for your turning chain and then put a single crochet all the way back. It won't be as stretchy, but it would still turn out very nice as well. So that's up to you. So continue with your foundation single crochets and I will meet you back. Once you've completed your foundation single crochet row, it's a good idea at this point to double check how many stitches you have by counting the V's and making sure you have the right number. I like to count on the top of my stitches, so where the loop is coming out, I count on that same side, not on the bottom. You could probably do that as well, but I find it easier to count the V stitches across the top. So once I have the right amount of stitches for row 2, I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and again I'm working across the top of the stitches, and I'm going to be placing 1 single crochet in each stitch across, and I'm going to start in the very first stitch. I'm not going to skip that one. So way over here in that far right hand corner, so I'm going to put a single crochet in every stitch across. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through 2. Go in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through 2. And I'm just going to repeat this all the way across. Finishing my last couple of stitches. Of round 2. For round 3, chain 3 and turn, and the chain 3 is going to count as our first stitch. So we're going to make a row of double crochet. So round 3 is all a row of double crochet. And we're just going to put a double crochet in each stitch across. All the way to the end. And if you would prefer a different starting method, you can also start it a couple different ways. You can chain 1 and turn. In that first stitch, make a single crochet, and then go through that first leg there on the left hand side, and then also the leg in the back. It's kind of hard to see right now. Okay. Going through both of those legs on the side of the stitch, yarn over and pull up, and then yarn over, pull through 2. So basically what you're doing is you're making a single crochet and then you're making another single crochet on top of the single crochet you just made. So that's another way you can start it, and I'll show you how that looks with a couple more doubles next to it. Okay. So there's that. Or another way you could also do it is just chain 1. Well, you don't have to chain 1. Let's see. Just pull up a long loop and turn. And then wrap your crochet hook around the long loop you just pulled up. And then yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2. You can do it like that. And I'll show you again how it looks with a couple more doubles next to it. Okay. So it's up to you, whichever method you prefer. Any of them are fine. What I've been doing for my piece is doing the stacked single crochet stitches. Going through both on the side, yarn over, pull up, and then yarn over, pull through 2. This is the way I've been making starting my double crochet rows. Again, you could do the chain 3, stack doubles, or you could do the twisting around. So there's 3 options for you how to start this row. But continue making double crochets all the way across. Finishing up my last couple double crochet stitches of round 3. And here's how it's looking. Okay, and next we're going to start with the broomstick lace portion. So I have my knitting needle, and you're going to just turn your work so your wrong side is facing, and you're going to drop off that loop onto your knitting needle, and we're going to pick up the stitches from the wrong side of our work. So the back side of that last row we just did, the double crochet row, the back side or wrong side is facing us. And we're just going to put our crochet hook in the next stitch. We're not going to go in that first stitch, we're going to go in the next stitch, going through both loops on top, yarn over, and pull up a long loop, and then drop it off. And we want to keep all the loops that are dropped off down below where it tapers so that they're all the same size. Okay. And when I normally do this stitch, I put the knitting needle between my knees and I hold it with my knees. So holding it with my hand and trying to do this at the same time to show you on screen is a little hard, but when you have this in between your legs and you don't have to hold on to the needle as well, you can just hold your work and your crochet hook, it's a lot easier. So continue picking up the loops in every stitch across, and your stitch count of the loops should equal your stitch count that you've had the entire time, whichever size you're making. And continue picking up the loops all the way across on your work, and it will end up, all the loops and your work will end up being attached to your knitting needle like that. So I'll see you at the last couple of stitches. Okay, so once you have all of your stitches picked up onto your knitting needle, it's a really good idea to double check your counting. So your loops should equal, loop count should equal your stitch count that you've maintained the entire time. So on the next round, we're going to turn our work so the right side is facing. And now we're going to work all the loops off of the knitting needle. So again, I normally have this in between my knees, and I will show you how to work this. It's a little awkward the way I'm doing it, but go ahead and take your crochet hook, go down the base of your stitches and pick up 5 loops, and carefully slide those 5 loops off of your knitting needle. And I like to work around with my hand around the knitting needle. So yarn over and pull through the loops, and then yarn over and make a chain. And I like to tighten that chain down a tad bit, but not too tight, because it will pull all your stitches down. Okay, and then I take my 2 fingers, middle finger and thumb, and I find the center of those 5 loops. And I'm going to place 5 single crochet stitches in the middle of those 5 loops. So there's 1, sorry about that, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that is 1 cluster made, broomstick lace cluster. And now I'm going to take a stitch marker and I'm going to place it in that first single crochet stitch of my row, excuse me, of the row, so that I don't forget to work into that stitch coming back on the next row. I found that was a problem or a little bit difficult, and people were losing their stitch count. So I think if we put a stitch marker in our very first single, then that might help us a little bit. Okay. And again, my next cluster, I'm going to bring my crochet hook down the base of these stitches and pick up 5 loops on my hook and gently take them off of the knitting needle. I'm going to push these other ones back down a little bit on the knitting needle. And we're going to yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2, and that's our first single crochet. I'm going to find the center with my fingers, and I'm going to place 4 more. We're going to be placing a total of 5 single crochet in the middle of these 5 loops. So there's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's our second cluster. And you just keep repeating this all the way down. And again, depending on what size you're making, I let you know how many clusters you should have. And that should just be the same stitch count for every repeat that you do. Okay. So I'm making my first single here. And then make 4 more, so we're having a total of 5 singles in the middle of these loops. Okay. Sorry for the banging on my table with the needle. Hope that's not too aggravating. Okay, so just continue that all the way across, and I'll see you down at the end of the row. My last 5 loops, placing 5 single crochet stitches inside the loops. Isn't that pretty? Okay, for the next round, or row, chain 1 and turn, and we're just going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch across. So just working in each stitch, placing a single crochet. Oops. And again, I think it's a good idea to put a stitch marker in our beginning single crochet stitch on that very first stitch there. Okay. All right, so again, single crochet all the way across. Finishing my last couple of stitches here. I'm going to remove my stitch marker and single crochet in that last single crochet stitch. Now I'm going to be chaining 1 and turn and placing a stacked single crochet here. You could also do the chain 3 like I mentioned before and continue on. So I have a chain 1. I'm going to place a single crochet and another single crochet going through the side of that last stitch I just made. And then when I pick up my loops coming back down, I'm going to make sure I go through this top of the V stitch there. And I will continue with a double crochet in each stitch across. And that is the repeat for this t-shirt. So it's a 4-row repeat. We're going to have picking up the loops, taking off the loops, doing a row of single and a row of double. So 4 rows. So continue these repeats for the indicated number of times for the size that you're making. And I will join you back. Finishing up my last couple of stitches here. We're going to end on a row 3. And then we're going to repeat rows 4, 5, and then 2 and 3 again. And we're going to pick up the number of stitches on our knitting needle just for a few stitches, not the entire row all the way across. So go ahead and pick up the indicated number of stitches and I'll meet you back. I've gone ahead and picked up the stitches for the shoulder, and I wanted to show you how you just leave the rest of your row unworked. And go ahead and complete your broomstick lace and your repeat for this section, and I'll meet you back. Finishing up my last stitch, go ahead and end off your yarn. Leave a long tail for seaming the shoulder later. Next, to start the other side of your shoulder, go ahead and count over to the indicated stitch for the size that you're making, and get a new piece of yarn, make a slip knot, and go ahead and put that on your hook. And we're going to start on the other shoulder. So go ahead and go into the stitch that you've marked from the edge and make a slip stitch there, kind of tightly. And then go ahead and pull up a loop and bring in your needle, put that loop on your needle, then turn your work, and you're ready to start the repeat again. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite shoulder, picking up all the loops, just going from here to here, and then finishing your other repeat section over on this side. I've completed the other shoulder, and I've left a long tail for seaming. So now both shoulders are complete on the front panel. So we're going to take our back panel with the right side facing out, which is the side that has these little chains showing. And we're going to match them up together, the front and the back. And then we're going to seam the shoulders together. So what I've done, I've taken my long tail from my shoulder work here, and I'm just going to do a mattress stitch, and I'm going to go through both, or go underneath both of the chains on both sides of the sweater, and on the end here I'm just going to go around one time like that. So to begin, I'm going to go underneath one side and the other, and then go underneath the next stitch on this side, but then go back down that same stitch that I went through already. And now I'm going to come up to the next stitch here on my back panel, but then go through the stitch I just used on the other panel. So I'm kind of going like this, and then up, and then back, and then up, and then back. So going up to the next one, go back to the previous one on the other side, and repeat this all the way across. And if you can't tell where you were last time, you can just kind of open it up and go back to the stitch before. So repeat this all the way across your shoulder, and do it for the other shoulder as well. And then when you complete it, it's going to leave a very nice chain going across the top of your shoulder, and it's going to be very secure because the shoulders are going to have a lot of pull on them. So it kind of resembles these chains that are very textured on the front and the back. So that was my preferred method for sewing the seams together on the shoulders. If you have a different way that you like better, feel free to join them in any fashion that you like. To seam the edges together. So here's the top of my sweater, and here's the bottom, and I'm just going to go up to my armhole, right, because we want to leave the armhole open so you can get your arm through there. So to seam up this section here on the side, thread your yarn on a yarn needle and go ahead and on this section I just do a running stitch back and forth through the crochet section, and when I get up to the top here, or the bottom of my broomstick lace area right here, I try to make it look similar to that section there. So I go underneath the V that's on the edge of my front panel or the back panel, it doesn't matter which one it is, and then bring my yarn across to the other panel and go through the V on the edge on that side. Okay, go underneath there, don't pull too tight because you want to make it like another chain stitch. We're making a little chain stitch right here, and then go back under the original V stitch on the first panel you were on. Okay. Like that. And then once you have that done, take your yarn needle, whichever side you're on, whatever panel, it doesn't matter. Go up the broomstick lace section and go through there, and don't pull too tight. You want that to look like one of the loops going through here, so don't pull too tight. And now we're back up at a crochet section again. So we're not going to connect these two broomstick lace sections together, okay, because we want them to be kind of separate like the rest of them. And then when we come up to the crochet section again, so this first row of singles right here, so I'm going to go underneath there, that first row of singles, and then come across to the first row of singles on the other side, and then go back and forth between the two panels, just going randomly wherever it feels right, nothing specific. Okay, and then you start again, going underneath those, the V-stitch on one side, the V-stitch on the other side. So the V-stitch that's on the edge of each panel, and then come back to your original one and go around that one again, and then go up to your next broomstick lace, top of your broomstick lace. So when you open it up and you're wearing it, it's going to almost look seamless, okay? And when you have it on, you're not going to be able to tell. So that's how I seam up the sides. So I do that on both sides, that one and then the other side as well. So go ahead and seam up those sides, and then we'll finish off the sweater with the edging around the arms and the neck. For the edging around the arm, I like to begin on the back panel, so this is the front, with the slip knot on my crochet hook, and we're going to do a standing single crochet to begin. And we're going to be using the single crochet stitch going around the sleeve opening. For the broomstick lace section, I will put 2 singles right in the center of the broomstick lace, and then I'm going to put one more single down here at the edge or the end of the stitch, and then where you go from the back panel to the front panel, I'm just going to put a single over here, picking up a couple of the legs down here, and then going directly into the broomstick lace stitch again, into the center, placing 2 singles in there, and then working on the edges of these rows. I'm going to place 4 singles, working up the crochet section, and I just repeat that all the way around. So 1 at the base of the broomstick lace, 2 in the middle of the opening of the broomstick lace, and then 1 single in the single crochet rows. So there's 2 singles there, and then put 2 singles for the double crochet rows, or row. So I have 3 singles for the broomstick lace and 4 singles for the crochet section. And that's it. So just repeat that all the way around, and then when you get up here to your shoulder, just keeping with the same 4 here, probably 1 in the end of this, and then, or 3 and 1 and 3, just evenly space your singles across the top here. Finishing up round 1 of the sleeve, I'm back at my beginning stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch to the first stitch, chain 1, and continue with another round, placing 1 single in every stitch around. Okay, so just continue that all the way around your sleeve opening, and I'll meet you back. Ending the round, slip stitch to your beginning single crochet stitch. And I'm going to do 1 more round of single crochet in each stitch around. And once we are done with the shoulder seam for the arm, the edging, I will show you the neck. Go ahead and slip stitch to the beginning stitch and end off your yarn to end the round. So that's how I put the edging for the sleeve. 3 rounds of single. And now for the neck, it's the same concept that we just did for the arm. And I like to start on the back panel, around the back side of the neck, at the shoulder seam here, and I'm just going to attach it with a slip stitch, or excuse me, I have a slip knot on my hook, and I'm going to make a standing single crochet. And just working in the sides of these stitches again. Placing 2 singles in the double, and then 1 in the single crochet row, and then 1 in the next single crochet row. And now I'm going to put 2 singles inside the broomstick lace space there in the opening, and 1 on the end of the broomstick lace stitch. And now I'm coming down to the front portion of the neck, and I'm going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch across, and I'm going to make them a little bit tighter keeping the tension a little bit tighter. Or you could also go down a hook size if that helps. And basically that is it. Okay, so you just single crochet around, come over here to your broomstick lace section right here and do the same, and then a single crochet across the back, and then I end off, and that's it. And then your sweater will be complete. I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial on how to make the beautiful Bayshore crochet tee and learned a lot. Thank you for being here and crocheting with me today. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and visit my website at thepurpleponcho.com for more crochet, knit, and Tunisian crochet patterns. Have a wonderful day.